you play for the second time in 2 weeks, you need sunglasses indoors. Florida State and Clemson getting ready for tip. A change to the Seminoles starting lineup. No C.J. Walker. He has knee tendonitis. He's expected to play but will not start. So Trent Forrest, who's played well of late, gets his second career start for the Seminoles. Florida State also looking to get Terrence Mann and Brian Angola going. Those two have struggled of late. For Clemson, Marquise Reed had 23 against Florida State just 2 weeks ago. Elijah Thomas averaging a double-double over his last 5 games. Staying out of foul trouble will be the key for him. Jamie Luckey, Kip Kissinger, Raymond Steins Jr. the refs. And Florida State will control the opening tip, working right to left.
Clemson Tigers starting out in a solid man-to-man.
Kofor misfires. In Florida State's loss Sunday against NC State, the Noles did not hit a single shot from outside the paint. Gabe DeVoe lost it, but able to draw the foul.
You're guarding Shelton Mitchell. He's a left-handed player. You have to understand that he can drive right. You can't allow middle penetration. That push your team in rotation. And we've seen of late, Florida State has given up a lot of three-point shots because of that.
Shelton Mitchell misfires. Offensive rebound, Elijah Thomas. Opponent shooting 40% from 3 against the Noles in ACC play. Thomas lost it, able to regain. Still plenty of time to shoot. Thomas trying to get it over the 7'4" Koumadji.
And that's what Chris Koumadji does. He doesn't have to block the shots, but at 7'4", he makes you think about where he is on the floor. Great job coming from the help side.
Koumadji, and he traveled.
You love the patience by Florida State there. The ball moved from one side of the floor to the other. Great spacing. Koumadji has to take his time and power that ball to the hoop. Shooter spread around. It's one-on-one in the post. Too big. He has to convert.
Shelton Mitchell returned Saturday after missing a couple of games with a concussion. He suffered the injury against Florida State. Gabe DeVoe short on the 3. He's picked up his game since the injury to Dante Grantham, Clemson's best player. And since Grantham went out, it's been simple for Clemson. When DeVoe plays well, the Tigers win.
And DeVoe's last contest, 25 points, 4 for 7 from 3. He snapped out of a slump. He was 2 for 14 from distance his last 2 contests. And partner, you're exactly right. When he plays well, the Clemson Tigers are a tough ball club.
Here comes Mitchell. Neither team has scored. Almost 2.5 minutes in. Elijah Thomas. That 7'4" Chris Koumadji bothered him. But we get a foul down low as Thomas hit the deck.
Thomas going 1-on-4 inside. The Seminoles really packing in the lane. Thomas has to keep his head up. He can't try to force a shot over one of the best shot blockers in college basketball. He keeps his head up, keeps his feet pivoted. He can kick it out for open shooters.
Koumadji, the tallest player in Florida State history at 7'4". Amir Sims trapped, gets rid of it. DeVoe dumps it off. Thomas drops it in for 2.
That was kind of a double assist there. Gabe DeVoe with 1. And then Koumadji hitting the deck, cleared the lane for Elijah Thomas to get an easy 2.
Brian Angola in and out. He's been in a shooting slump. Sims catch and release. Yes. Amir Sims, the freshman, his playing time is increased with Dante Grantham out.
That's his 10th made 3 of the year. Loves to set up in that corner. Hands ready, feet set. Shot ready on the catch.
Kofor down the lane through traffic and contact. And we get a foul on Clemson. And that is one on Elijah Thomas. Brad Brownell told me today Thomas has to give Clemson 25 to 28 minutes. He can't commit early fouls and he can't commit silly fouls.
And that right there, just unable to get out of the way. You got to give Florida State a lot of credit. They've struggled shooting the ball from three. Early in this contest, they're turning down the outside shots, getting a piece of the paint, putting pressure on the rim, attacking.
Phil Kofor at the free throw line. As you take a look at Brad Brownell, whose Clemson Tigers poised to get back to the NCAA tournament after a 6-year absence. And he's talking to Elijah Thomas about what we were talking about.
Well, he has to stay out of foul trouble. He has to be smart, be in the correct position. And Coach Brownell obviously there telling Thomas, inside, recognize there are 4 jerseys around you. You kick it out, the Tigers will get open shots.
Forrest, a terrific defender. He was all over Mitchell. Shelton Mitchell, the 3, batted out of bounds. Last touch, Florida State. It stays with Clemson. Mark Donnell, grad transfer from Michigan, trapped in the corner. Skips it to Marquise Reed. DeVoe, back out to Reed, shot fake. And the 3 good. Marquise Reed at 16 a game, Clemson's leading scorer.
Nice possession there. DeVoe with the fancy pass. And Marquise Reed has shot a hot basketball. Able to knock it down from distance.
Kofor unable to connect. Here comes Reed. That one hits the back iron from Sims.
Florida State, when they're able to get stops, secure rebounds, they have to push tempo, try to get easy points in transition before the Clemson defense can get back and get set.
Seminoles still without a field goal and now a turnover. Donnell. Angola comes up with the rebound, and here's Forrest. Forrest, spin cycle, tornadoes into the paint, and Ike Obiagu with just his 2nd field goal in his last 13 games.
And it was hand delivered. The plate was set, silverware on the side. All the big fella had to do was catch, go up, and sit on it. Monster dunk.
Reed from 18. And there is Obiagu with the rebound. He had 6 blocks against NC State on Sunday. Terrence Mann maneuvers his way into the paint. Over Sims, kicks to the corner. It's Kofor. And a 3 for Florida State after going 0 for 15 from downtown on Sunday.
And that's a welcome sign right there. Bill Kofor, one of the most improved players, finally healthy, and he's expanded his game to be able to knock down that 3-point shot with consistency.
We get a foul on the floor. Florida State has pulled to within 1. A couple of big guys knocking it down from the outside. You had Reed and then you had Kofor. Florida State gave Clemson some heartache on Valentine's Day. The Seminoles trailed by 18 in the second half, tied the game. They went into overtime, and the Seminoles took their first lead with 1:05 to go in OT, coming away with an 81-79 win. Brad Brownell told me today the problem for Clemson was turnovers. He thought they played well offensively. 21 turnovers, though, led to 29 Florida State points.
Well, you can't allow Florida State to turn you over and then get those easy baskets in transition. Trent Forrest, a huge catalyst down the stretch, and that was the game for the Clemson Tigers. That Shelton Mitchell at the point guard position got hurt, got the concussion, and in my opinion, that changed the complexion of that ball game.
Fiondu Kabengele, he's been taking the ball to the basket of late, and when not scoring, getting to the free throw line. A 7-0 run for Florida State. C.J. Walker battling that knee tendonitis in for the Noles. He did not start today, first time this season. And we get a foul as David Skara going hard to the basket, and Leonard Hamilton going with the full line change here.
And Coach Hamilton talked about this ball club has to win by committee. He's going to play a lot of guys early in this contest, keeping fresh bodies on the floor. But you look at this lineup the Seminoles have. A nice job by Kabengele on the drive. But keep an eye on 23, M.J. Walker, a guy that can get hot in a hurry. And you need those type of performances, especially on the road.
Reed whips it inside. Skara blocked by Obiagu. He'll stay with Clemson, 10 to shoot.
You're playing Florida State. If you're trying to score inside, you better have a hard hat and take it strong. Big guys up there ready for the rejection.
Skara, a transfer from Valparaiso. DeVoe off balance, and a tip in by Donnell. Walker. A bounce to DeVoe. Senior out of Shelby, North Carolina. Decorated high school player there, thought about the three. Instead, he'll drive to the basket, unable to finish, and it hit DeVoe while he was out of bounds. Florida State basketball.
That was an opportunity there. I thought gave DeVoe wide open top of the key. As we said, coming into this game, he's been shooting a hot basketball. When you attack, you better take it in there with authority against the front line of Florida State. Young man, keep your head on a swivel when the ball's coming back at you.
Kabengele missing from three. Here comes Reed. And the jumper is good. That's Malik Williams. M.J. Walker, McDonald's All-American, a five-star freshman, and he travels. Clemson with a three-point lead at the 11:59 mark of the first half. For his ACL against Notre Dame, Grantham done for the season, but his roommate Gabe DeVoe, a fellow senior, really upped his game. And if you look at Clemson, 9 games since the Grantham injury, they're 5-4. In the 5 wins, DeVoe has been extraordinary. In the 4 losses, not so much. As DeVoe goes, so goes Clemson now.
And he stepped up, and that's what you expect from your senior. All hands on deck, but your seniors, your upperclassmen have to lead the way. And Gabe DeVoe has been a natural-born scorer since high school. He stepped up and done the job. That does not have a field goal so far in the first half, but 2 assists on the game, a couple of rebounds. They need his leadership here tonight at home.
And we get a bump on the baseline against Clemson. First on Skara. P.J. Savoy, that's what he's in the game to do, and we're tied at 12.
Great action there, roll and replace, and P.J. Savoy, he's in his range when he steps into the gym. Number 32 from three-point range on the season.
Donnell using the shot fake. 5 to shoot. Skara, the turnaround swatted by Obiagu, and a shot clock violation.
The young big fella doing his duty inside. You talked about it last contest, 6 block shots. You have to give him a shot fake, head and shoulder, something. If you go straight up, too big, great timing. Meets the shot at his peak, keeps it in play. But a shot clock violation. Great job defensively by the Seminoles.
A 7-footer from Nigeria. Offense a work in progress. Defensively, you're seeing what he can do. And we get a foul against Clemson, and Cabangeli, who's been to the free throw line 18 times in his last 2 games, will head back to the stripe.
And conversely, Cabangeli is a guy offensively that can put points on the board. Great patience. You saw the footwork. 7 points per game. Has a high of 13 against Pitt. The front court future of the Seminoles is in good hands with these 2 young men.
Saturday's showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. Number 6 Kansas going to Gallagher-Iba to take on Oklahoma State. And then we get Louisville and NC State. The Wolfpack had the big win against Florida State on Sunday. And Kevin Keatts in his first season has done a remarkable job. If NC State wins out, they are guaranteed of a double bye and a top 4 seed.
Well, Tony Bennett at UVA is going to be coach of the year, and rightfully so. But Kevin Keatts has completely turned that program around in a short time. The Wolfpack, they play hard, they pressure you defensively, and when they're making shots from distance, that is a dangerous team headed into ACC tournament play.
Florida State saw that firsthand. Knowles can take the lead here. Cabangeli draws the contact, no whistle, but the basket good.
This young man can score inside. But Florida State, they're getting their points because of their defense. And that's the staple of Leonard Hamilton teams. Holding the Tigers right now 28% from the field, and their defense gets their offense going, creating those easy opportunities inside.
They get a foul on C.J. Walker, his second. And for Leonard Hamilton, Jason, the problem this year has been defense. Florida State averages 81 points per game in conference, but they're also giving up 81 a game.
And giving up easy opportunities, second chance, as you've seen already in this contest with 6 offensive rebounds by the Clemson Tigers, but allowing 3-point shots. You get that when you don't keep the ball handler in front of you and your defense stays in rotation. This team has to defend in order to put the ball in the hole offensively.
Runner for DeVoe, no good. He's 0 for 4. Angola, that's through the legs of Forrest, the turnover.
And Brian Angola, no one stopped the ball. If no one stops the basketball, you have to continue to attack until the defense rotates over, and then you make the correct basketball play.
Foul on Chris Kumaji. Off the inbounds, a turnover. Mann gets it back from Forrest. Mann to the basket. The tip-in is good by Kofor.
And that's when Florida State is at their best. They turn you over, the live ball variety. It allows the Seminoles to get in transition, 7-0 run. And it starts with the defense of Florida State.
Mitchell kicks it over to Sims. Rebound Angola. Angola was open. Kofor knocks it down from the outside. One of the most improved players in the ACC. He spent a lot of time in the offseason working on his jump shot with assistant coach Stan Jones. And for a guy who really had trouble staying healthy and wasn't much of a scorer, he has blossomed in his final season in Tallahassee.
Well, you wait for your moment, you work for it. It's all about improving, and what a better time than your senior season.
The Tigers win out. Clemson guaranteed a first-round bye and a second-round bye in the ACC tournament. Yeah, those are pretty good resumes for both those programs. You played at one of them.
And there's nothing like it. As a player, you know the world is watching. And for a Tar Heel visiting Cameron Indoor Stadium, the bus pulls up, the fans in Krzyzewskiville are waiting for you. Personally, I got booed the second I stepped onto the floor. The chants, but I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. I was a Cameron crazy for 4 years, cheering on number 5 from Duke. I wanted to be that villain stepping in there. And when you walk out with a win, there's no feeling like it. It's going to be a great contest senior night for Grayson Allen. Both teams coming off a loss. Get your popcorn ready. It's going to be a great game.
Did those fans have information on you that you didn't even know existed?
No, they just chanted Jeff was better the entire time, from stretching to warm-ups.
Was
They were ready.
Was Jeff supplying information? Perhaps
He wasn't, but I only won in Cameron Indoor Stadium one time.
Okay.
And my brother happened to be in attendance. And one of the special games in my career, we won. I played pretty well. It's a big-time win, and he was the first person to greet me in the locker room, embracing me.
they let him in.
They let him in. Oh, we won. He was a part of the celebration. He was neutral then. He was an assistant coach at Old Dominion. But he didn't get a ticket from me. He definitely got his tickets from the Duke Blue Devils.
Right. Clemson, a couple of baskets to end a 10-0 Florida State run. Chris Kumaji kicks it out. Kofor's got 10. Angola will fire from 3, and he snaps a streak of 21 consecutive missed threes. And if that ignites Brian Angola, boy, the outlook for Florida State changes down the stretch.
1 for 21 from distance coming to this contest. And there's something about shooters against a short shot clock that their percentages skyrocket. But Brian Angola, he's been the weapon from three-point range for the Seminoles all season. He's gone into a slump offensively. They have gone along with him. And that's a welcome sign for Leonard Hamilton to see his best shooter step up and knock one down from distance.
Kumaji just picked up his second foul. Angola was shooting better than 40% from 3 before going into hibernation from downtown. He told me a couple of weeks ago, if he could just score some easy baskets, he felt that could get him going. And in the second half against NC State, you saw him get fouled, take the ball to the basket, get some buckets in transition. And we wondered aloud on Sunday, I did the game with Corey Alexander, if maybe Brian Angola was starting to emerge. That's certainly a great sign for Florida State.
The shooters have to see the ball go through the basket.
How about Obiagu?
Great drive, the crossover from the big fella Thomas. But Obiagu, his second block of the game, he has great timing, beat on the play, but didn't give up.
Now Obiagu working against Elijah Thomas, and go figure, the guy who had 5 field goals in ACC play all season, 2 tonight.
And you reward your big guy. If you want the big fellas to protect the rim and rebound the basketball, you have to feed them inside.
And there you can see Sims, aware of Obiagu's presence, kicks it out, but Mitchell able to can the 3.
Clemson unable to score in the paint. The size and shot blocking ability of Florida State has really taken him out of the game. Shelton Mitchell, he played 32 minutes his first game back. Good sign to see him healthy and contributing for the Tigers.
I'll tell you what, Obiagu, his build is not of a freshman.
That's
and he
a
looks
grown
like
man.
That is a grown man.
And he does his job. He understands his job is to set screens, rebound the basketball, protect the rim. And anytime he can put points on the board for you, those are bonus opportunities. You've seen his minutes continue to increase because he gives you so much on the defensive end.
And we get a whistle. foul is on Obiagu, away from the ball, his first.
A little too aggressive, trying to get inside position. When you score 4 points in the first half, you're not accustomed to touching the basketball. You're going to work a little harder to do your work early inside. You can't be physical of that nature right in front of the official standing on the baseline.
2 field goals in the first half after 1 in the previous 12 games. Donnell from the outside hits the 3. It's a 2-point game. Man puts it on the floor. The basket and the foul on Donnell.
Excellent job by Terrence Mann. You see the footwork on the wing, the jab step, rotated the defense, allowed him to drive to that baseline. Great body control to move around the defender. When guys are attacking, you know you're going to get hit. You love it when they have their chin up. That forces your eyes to focus on the rim through the contact, and Mann completes the 3-point play.
Mann is Florida State's leading scorer, but like Angola, has not been that productive of late. You look at the last 7 games compared to the first 20, points per game down almost 10 a game. They need to get those 2 going, Angola and Mann, for the stretch run. Reed blocked again by Obiagu. Donnell. Here comes Florida State defensively. This is as good as they've looked in a while.
This defense is swarming, contesting every shot, doing the job in the ball screen setting. And this is Florida State basketball. Defensively, protecting the rim, helping one another, being connected, and contesting every shot. Florida State.
For Ike Obiagu, the freshman from Nigeria, 4 blocks in the first half tonight. He had 6 blocks in the second half on Sunday against NC State.
And he's been everywhere. Great footwork, 4 points, easy baskets inside. But you see, not just blocking shots on his player, doing the job in rotation, being in a stance, moving around, covering outside of his area. And since he's come in the game, he has changed the tempo, the ferocity of the Seminole defense, doing an excellent job, the freshman big.
He's been the main reason Florida State has been so much better on defense tonight. Clemson just 9 of 27 from the field. Still a 5-point game. Here's Trent Forrest. He was big 2 weeks ago against Clemson. 16 points, 8 of them in the final 5 minutes plus. Kofer, too strong. Rebound, Elijah Thomas. DeVoe contested 3, and he is fouled by P.J. Savoy. So 3 shots coming for Gabe DeVoe.
That's a cardinal sin. You cannot foul a 3-point shooter. Gabe DeVoe, yes, he shot a hot basketball coming into this game, but he has not made a field goal in this first half. Contest with a high hand, be there on the catch. But these shots right here, Anish, can get a guy who struggled so far in this first half. Seeing it go through the hoop can get him going.
Well, we have an NBA Friday doubleheader for you at 8 Eastern. DeMar DeRozan and the Raptors in the nation's capital to take on the Wizards. Then Karl Anthony Towns and the T-Wolves taking on slam dunk champ Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz. Utah has won 12 out of 14.
And Donovan Mitchell, I'm calling it right now, Spider has to be Rookie of the Year. What Ben Simmons is doing is incredible, but Donovan Mitchell's the best player on a team that's going to make the playoffs and make some noise. He's having a great rookie season, and quite frankly, I don't think anybody saw him being this successful this early.
No. MJ Walker, there's Thomas again to clean up. Now, Ben Simmons had the red shirt here too, right?
Absolutely. He's a year older. But Donovan Mitchell was contemplating whether to turn pro or not. I'd say he made the right decision.
Florida State I think pleading for a goaltend.
Absolutely. Gabe DeVoe, when he went up to block that shot, he grabbed the nets and pulled up on the rim. Jay Walker attacking in transition. DeVoe coming help side. As clear as day, he didn't touch the basketball, but that left hand allowed him to pull up on the rim. That should be 2 points with an opportunity for a third at the foul line.
Instead, it's going to be 2 shots for Walker. Leonard Hamilton not happy with the call, and rightfully so. Foul is on David Scarra, his second. And MJ Walker to the free throw line, the freshman, a McDonald's All-American, and a big-time football recruit, too. In fact, Dabo Sweeney offered him a scholarship to play football at Clemson.
Look at that young man's offers in football. #1 shooting guard in the country, a top 8 player, McDonald's All-American. But Clemson, Michigan, I'm talking the heavyweights of college football.
Florida,
this young
Miami.
man of scholarship. We've seen some pretty good 2 sports stars at Florida State.
DeVoe from the outside.
And it's no coincidence, it's after the 3 free throws that gave DeVoe getting fouled on that 3-point shot. You never want to give a shooter confidence seeing the ball go through the hoop.
And we were singing Florida State's praises a minute ago, and it's a 1-point game. Here comes DeVoe on the drive. Can't finish, gets it back.
Close ball game. You have a 3-on-1 break. You have to come away with points.
Thomas over Obiagu, and Clemson with the lead. Timeout by Florida State with 1:36 to go in this opening half. Seminoles without a field goal in almost 3 minutes, and Clemson has retaken the lead. To play basketball, and right now in the ACC there is no better and no more anticipated yearly matchup on the gridiron than Clemson Florida State. We have Duke UNC this weekend. When it comes to the fall, that's Clemson Florida State.
And Clemson has been the breadwinner in the ACC, competing for national championships, and Dabo Sweeney, one of the very best coaches in all of football, capturing that national championship a season ago.
Reed able to draw the foul. He'll shoot 2, one of the best free throw shooters in the conference. 2 on Terrence Mann. Reed had 23 points against Florida State 2 weeks ago. Oh, and if you haven't heard, speaking of that Duke-Carolina rivalry, UNC won round 1 at the Dean Dome. Round 2 at Cameron Indoors. Senior night for Grayson Allen. He's going to be amped.
The entire Cameron Indoor Stadium is going to be amped. I can promise you that. A couple of factors. They're coming off a loss at Virginia Tech. Grayson Allen, senior night. And oh yeah, you're playing your heated rival on the final regular season game in ACC play. It's going to be high-level basketball for the world to watch.
Carolina lost last night, but they had been playing extremely well and won 6 in a row prior to the Miami defeat. Clemson, despite shooting 11 of 30 in this first half, with a 3-point lead. Now we get a foul on Elijah Thomas, and that is 2 on Thomas.
And that's the thing that Coach Brad Barnell was trying to ensure did not happen. Elijah Thomas setting that screen, didn't come to a stop, tried to roll up the defender. That's an easy blocking call.
Kofor in the corner, hits the three, 13 for Phil Kofor, who had 17 against Clemson 2 weeks ago. All of those came in the second half.
3 3-point shots, and I think he likes that corner over there. Hides behind the defense, shot ready. Florida State 5 for 10 in the first half from distance, and that has been the difference in this ballgame.
0 for 15 on Sunday. Clemson, with the shot clock winding down, the game clock winding down, able to hit from the outside. And the Tigers on that Shelton Mitchell 3 will take a 3-point lead into the locker room.
Welcome back, Shelton Mitchell. Clock running down, the fancy footwork, crossover into a jump shot. Clemson Tigers have gotten into an offensive flow the last 5 minutes of this contest. 3-point lead headed in the half.
Clemson, Joe Lunardi projects the Tigers as a 5 seed. With a win tonight, Clemson would set a school record with 11 ACC wins. And I know 11 ACC wins hasn't been done, and there's 18 games now. There used to be 14 games, and then there were 16 games. But Brad Brownell says, given what's happened this year and the adversity his team has had to face, especially losing Dante Grantham, who was having such a great senior season, there's a lot of stock and there's a lot of celebrating to do if Clemson can get to 11 wins and set a school record. Brad Brownell said, he told me today it'd be a fantastic accomplishment.
And Brad Brownell should get a lot of credit for that. He's reshaped this team. You're talking about Dante Grantham out. They were without their point guard for 3 games, and they've had to adjust on the fly, and he's done an excellent job this season. Deserves a lot of credit.
Gabe DeVoe missing the 3 to begin the second half. Kofor, he loves that corner. His 4th 3, he's got 16 to lead all scorers.
The right corner, Phil Kofor sets up shop. His feet are set, and he's shot ready, calling for the basketball. If you're Clemson, you have to control the ball at the point of attack. Elijah Thomas doing his work early. If you're Chris Kamaji, you have to take away that right shoulder of the left-handed Thomas inside.
6 points, 6 rebounds for Thomas, who's averaging a double-double over his last 5. Forrest looking for help, traveled. Seminoles 6 of 11 from 3 after going 0 for 15 on Sunday. And in that loss to NC State, the Seminoles did not make a single field goal outside of the paint. DeVoe hits.
I'm sure Brian Barnell is saying, you better have made that shot. Gabe DeVoe taking a long 3-point shot, his 2nd of the half already. Over 7 for Chris Kamaji.
Angola turns it over. DeVoe up ahead. Thomas blocked by Kamaji. Angola around Reed. Drops it off to Mann. Extra pass, Forrest. And Trent Forrest will shoot 2.
Florida State starting this half with 2 turnovers, trying to attack the baseline, running out of real estate. But their defense continues to do the job. Chris Kamaji erasing that shot, allowing the Seminoles to get in transition. And these, you better have your hard hat, your shoes laced up tight, and attack the rim with authority when you're going against the front line of Florida State. Nothing easy inside.
They've been getting devoured tonight. 6 blocks already for Florida State. 4 of those by Ike Obiagu. Forrest gets the free throws. Known as an elite defender, he has become a scoring threat of late. Double figures in 3 straight games. Scored a career-high 16 against Clemson 2 weeks ago. Matched that on Sunday against NC State. Reed from the outside. And the rebound by Kumaji. Forrest puts it on the floor. He's blocked by Sims. Man. And Sims able to come up. Mitchell. Reed from the baseline.
And that's the difference having a point guard for Clemson makes. Shelton Mitchell is a guy that understands he's going to drive the basketball until the defense forces him to stop. A great unselfish play. And Marquise Reed, that's a tough shot there on the baseline. The Clemson Tigers
bringing its tournament to the Garden beginning today.
Well, everyone wants to come to the Mecca, and you can't blame them for that. But the Big Ten, I think it's going to be a competitive tournament, but starting earlier than everyone else.
That was to get into the Garden.
Well, absolutely. But it's also going to give those teams an opportunity to be rested, lick their wounds, and sit at home while everyone else is still competing and beating each other up to be the fresher teams going into NCAA tournament play.
That'll be something to watch. An offensive foul on Kofor. And right now, Uncle Mo on the side of Clemson.
Florida State has had a tendency to come out of the locker room at halftime and become stagnant. You've seen turnovers throughout the first 4 minutes so far. On the road against a top 25 team, you cannot turn the basketball over. You have to have cohesion on the offensive end. Right now, Florida State needs to dig in on the defensive end of the floor.
Mitchell to Thomas. Over to Sims. The follow is not there. A couple of bunnies missed.
And Sims heard the footsteps of 7'4" Chris Kumaji. Again, he doesn't have to block the shot, but you have to be aware of where he is. Can cover so much ground in a short period of time. And that stop, once again, allows the Seminoles to push the break before the defense is set. And though they've struggled offensively, have a chance now to step to the line and see the ball go through the hoop.
And Elijah Thomas, Jason, just picked up his third personal foul. Trent Forrest to the free throw line. The nephew of former Seminole football great Amp Lee, a standout running back at Florida State. And for Brad Brownell, this is a big loss right now. Thomas was somebody that he told me he needed tonight. He said he has to give us 25 to 28 minutes and has to stay out of foul trouble, which has been the problem throughout his career.
Well, this is a huge deal. Thomas is the only guy that the Clemson Tigers can throw the ball inside to and expect to come away with points. He rebounds at a high clip, 8 double-doubles, and you're playing against this towering front line. With him on the bench, it puts more pressure on the guards of the Clemson Tigers.
Marquise Reed will bring it up. One-time Northeast Conference Rookie of the Year at Robert Morris. DeVoe to an open Sims. Three is not there. Forrest to the rebound. Forrest pushing. Man from the corner. Obiagu battling for the rebound. It comes to Kofor. Second try for Man. And this time it's DeVoe skying for the carom.
Phil Kofor has to score the basketball. He did the hard work, got the rebound. Terrence Mann is not a good outside three-point shooter. You're a big fella, 2 feet in the lane, a big-time athlete. Go up high and finish.
Obiagu got a piece of that one, too. That is his 5th block. Alternating possession when the ball gets stuck. Florida State basketball Seminoles down by 3.
Basketball is brought to you by Dr. Scholl's Custom Fit Orthotics and Angry Orchard Hard Cider. Naturally refreshing.
Anish Shroff, Jason Capel with you. News and notes from around the ACC. The return. Bonzie Colson came back tonight. ACC preseason player of the year. 12 points, 9 rebounds. Notre Dame beats Pitt. UNC losing on senior night by a Jaquan Newton buzzer beater. And Virginia The Cavaliers have put together one of the best regular seasons in the history of this conference.
And they have, and it's been because of their defense, which is the best in all of college basketball. Also the emergence, Kyle Guy scoring the basketball, Jerome, who will take and make big shots, and Devin Hall, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated players in the ACC. This is a dangerous team headed into March.
DeAndre Hunter has been a big factor off the bench. He might be the 6th man of the year in the ACC. Angola's hit a couple of threes tonight. He came in 1 for his last 21 from 3, and that is a huge sign for Florida State.
And Anish, you see they're getting it by pushing tempo early, and Brian Angola, he plays harder when he sees that ball go through the net. Knocks down that 3, picks up 94 feet. The head of the snake right now on the defensive end.
Mitchell, no good. Obiagu rips down the rebound. Seminoles looking to retake the lead here. Angola feeling it.
Anish, shooters only need to see it go through the hoop one time. When it rains, it pours. And he's making it rain right now in the second half. Consecutive 3-point shots. And that one, not a lot of space, not a lot of time, but he knocks it down.
Donnell at the other end, the grad transfer from Michigan. And we're tied at 45.
This contest got off to a slow start. Team struggling to score. But it's a big hoop right now. They're finding their way. Both teams shooting a hot basketball from distance.
Five to shoot. Angola kicks to the corner. Forrest. 3 is not there. We get a foul underneath. And it's going to be on Obiagu.
Brian Angola, 1 for 21 from 3 coming to this contest. You sprint in transition. The ball's kicked ahead, knock it down. And then off the bounce, Forrest, an unselfish play. Angola now in a nice rhythm. You see him going to the bench with a smile on his face. He has found his shot. He has the Seminoles locked into a tie in this ballgame.
Florida State came into this game shooting 29% from 3 in its last 7. And when you go 0 for 15 on Sunday, that doesn't help the average. But they were a really good shooting team coming into conference play at the beginning of conference play. They've sort of taken a nosedive. Angola's slump had a lot to do with it. If that 3-point shot comes back, if Angola can come back, if Man can play better, if they found something in Obiagu as a guy who can give you meaningful minutes and defensive energy, boy, the outlook changes for Florida State, doesn't it?
Well, it's a team that has shown it can score the basketball this season. Terrence Mann is excellent off the bounce. He's a slasher, a scorer, attacking the paint. But Brian Angola has been the guy to lead the offense throughout this season. He can take big shots and knock them down. Doesn't need a lot of space or time. They need his production as an upperclassman, especially here on the road.
Reed misses. Obiagu to the bench with 3 fouls now. Watch Kofor, he's in that corner. 4 threes tonight, most of his damage from that right corner. Instead, it's Man denied at the rim by Sims. Reed, stutter step, Scara travel. CJ Walker back in for Florida State. He did not start today with knee tendonitis, but has played off the bench. Man kicks it out to Kofor. Shot clock winding down. Man over Sims. And we get a foul underneath on Kevin Gilly.
A lost possession from Florida State. The ball was stagnant, stuck on one side of the floor. No ball or body movement. And you settle for a contested shot against a short shot clock. And Leonard Hamilton looks down his bench, sees a guy that put in consecutive three-point shots, immediately sends Brian Angola back into this game.
Terrence Mann to the bench. He's just 1 of 8 3 points as we get a foul. Now they'll say it's deflected out. Now Mann is somebody Florida State has to get to being productive again. 5 points or less in 3 of his last 5 games. And again, just 1 of 8 3 points tonight.
He's that Swiss Army knife, does a bit of everything, can score, a great facilitator, and he can rebound the ball as well. But you can't have him over-dribbling the basketball, taking contested three-point shots. He's a 25% three-point shooter. He needs to be a slasher, getting out in transition, getting something going to the hoop.
Walker inside, Cabangeli, and a foul on the floor against Clemson. Been a this conference. Luke May, it started last March, and he's had a breakout season for the Heels.
Well, you can say the 2 leading candidates for ACC Player of the Year as well.
So who do you give it to?
I think a lot is going to be determined by who wins that game on Saturday. But Luke May, what a great story. When you talk about a student athlete, a guy who's worked for every inch. He made the shot last season in the NCAA tournament against Kentucky, worked his tail off this summer. A lot was on his shoulders to step up and be really the only returning front court player. He's been ready for the challenge, and saying he's been productive is not doing it justice. He has been dominant, scoring the ball, rebounding, and doing it from everywhere when the Heels have needed it most.
Phil Kofer to the free throw line. The foul was on Amir Sims, his 3rd. Kofer's got a game-high 16 tonight. Terrific bloodlines. His dad, Michael, was a Pro Bowl defensive lineman in the NFL. Mom, Reba, played basketball at Tennessee. Phil told me earlier in the year that he and his brother, Michael Jr., would play mom and dad 2-on-2 in the driveway growing up.
Oh, that's big time right there. I would love to hear those stories. Who has bragging rights? Who won the last game? Because you know mom and dad have that competitive energy. They're not going to take it easy on their kids.
That's what he said. He said
a lot of hard fouls in the driveway.
He said a lot of hard fouls, and it took a while before he and his brother could start getting mom and dad.
Well, a note to parents: foul your kids in the driveway. It makes them better, makes them tougher. Call the cops.
Walker the steal.
The reach around keeps it alive. And you see right there, their energy changes when Florida State can force a turnover. That's their identity. That's who they are. That's what gives them that spark, creating things on the defensive end.
Marquise Reed, 2 with a chance for 3. C.J. Walker picks up his 3rd.
Marquise Reed, he was the player that just got his pocket picked. Walker said a little something to him. Reed immediately, when he got the basketball, dropped that inside shoulder, attacked, able to put it in. Can't complete the three-point play. But we're going to see maybe a personal battle going on here now with great competitors on both ends.
Reed has been a fan of Hump Day. 28 last Wednesday against Virginia Tech. 23 the previous Wednesday against Florida State.
Well, he single-handedly kept the Tigers in that game against Virginia Tech. 8 3-point shots. He's a natural-born scorer, and now with Shelton Mitchell back in the lineup, he can go back to simply scoring the basketball without having to think about being that facilitator from the point guard position.
Nice hustle there by Donnell. Clemson basketball. And Brad Brownell told me today that when Mitchell was out, Reed was miscast, as you said, as a point guard, and Mitchell's return makes offense easier for everybody else, according to head coach Brad Brownell.
Well, it frees up he and Gabe DeVoe. Those two guys are natural-born scorers, something they've been doing their entire lives. If you try to change them to a point guard, you make them think, that slows them down. It takes away from who they are as individual players.
Here's Clyde Trapp, the freshman. Donnell looking for help, 10 to shoot. DeVoe puts it on the floor, kicks to the corner. 3 by Trapp, off the mark. Oh, maybe not. Spoke too soon. Members bounce by Trapp. Clemson on top.
3-ball corner pocket, touched everything.
A little bit of
front
English.
of the rim, top of the backboard. Found his rightful place at the bottom of the net.
DeVoe in the passing lane. Clemson by 5. Walker back the other way. And a foul. Tigers on a 7-0 run.
And Gabe DeVoe blew a tire there in transition. You talk about a shooter's touch. Clyde Trapp, you're welcome. Touched everything, and Gabe DeVoe shooting the passing lane. Had bad intentions to go up high for a jam. Lost his feet, still able to finish. But Florida State did not rest. Inbounded the ball quickly, pushed in transition. You have to make shots at the foul line when you're trying to mount a comeback and get a big win on the road.
Amir Sims to the bench. He's got 4 fouls now. 52-49. 2 weeks ago, these two went to overtime. Florida State rallied from 18 down in the second half. This one's been pretty close throughout. DeVoe hits the deck. Here's Trapp. Five to shoot. DeVoe through traffic and able to draw the foul. It's on Cabangeli. His second.
Florida State, you played great defense for 28 seconds. Kept the ball in front of you, connected. And then you allow a straight line drive, putting pressure on your back line. Great job by Clyde Trapp getting his footprints in the paint.
Freshman from Eastover, South Carolina, hits the first. Sports Center tonight after Rockets Clippers with Stan and Neil. They'll break down Anthony Davis's fantastic February, 35-12. Plus a look at how the Rockets and Warriors handled road tests. Houston looking for their 14th straight win. How about Trapp coming off the bench, giving Clemson a bit of a lift here. Came in averaging just 2 points per game. 54-49, 9 minutes to go in regulation. Forrest. Savoy, and we get a blocking foul on Donnell. Donnell shaking his head. That is 3 on Mark Donnell.
Bang, bang play here. Donnell, a second late jumping out. He was kind of caught in no man's land, Anish. He didn't hedge on the ball screen. He wasn't there corralling. He knew he was late. He tried to jump out and stop the ball handler. The Little John faithful, unhappy with the call, but I believe it was the correct call.
Forrest driving to the basket. Count it, +1.
Trent Forrest with a body snatching crossover left to right, doing the job, attacking downhill, giving an assist to Obiagu, sealing the lane, allowing his teammate to turn the corner. Little window shopping off the glass for a possible 3-point play.
Donnell picked up his 4th, so Elijah Thomas, who has 3 fouls, checks back in. For Thomas, he has to play smart now. Can't pick up silly fouls. Brad Brownell says Thomas needs to stay on the floor, needs to stay out of foul trouble. Picked up 2 in the first half. Mitchell. Obiagu cancels him again.
What a play. You attack, you think you have a clear lane.
How about that? Off of Mitchell, so it's Florida State basketball.
You're never safe. You think you have the step on Florida State. Their bigs cover so much ground. Obiagu, 5 blocks. That's now 11 in less than 30 minutes of action on the floor. I call that getting the job done.
Savoy, no good. Rebound Clemson. Tigers nursing a 2-point lead. Trap, open 3. Didn't use the top of the backboard on that one.
Well, that's not the shot that Brad Barnell wants. Immediately, forcefully telling the Tigers to get the ball to Shelton Mitchell, set up in their half-court set.
Plenty of time on the shot clock. Mitchell, he'll fire. Obiagu is flying at him. And here comes Florida State with another chance to tie.
Elijah Thomas got away with pushing Trent Forrest in the back. That would have been a costly play there. That would have been number 4 on the big man for the Clemson Tigers.
DeVoe driving, kicking. Mitchell. And we get a foul on Terrence Mann. 6:55 to go in regulation. It's a 2-point game. Tomorrow is the first day of March. The madness begins. Joe Lunardi projects 9 ACC teams in the field. Couple on the bubble right now. Syracuse, one of them, but losing on the road to Boston College late in the second half. Notre Dame, can they play themselves back in with Bonzie Colson now back in the lineup? Big 12 has 10 teams in the conference, 8 projected to make the NCAA tournament.
This is the time of year that everyone waits for. You watch the entire season. You see the teams beat up on one another in conference play. But this is the fun time of the year where it's about one shining moment, playing your best basketball individually, have an opportunity to represent your university in the NCAA tournament with an opportunity to cut down the nets as national champions.
Clemson is going to have a place in the field this year after missing it 6 years in a row. Last few years, they've been sweating it out late in the season. Not this year. Brad Brownell and his staff have done a terrific job withstanding the injury to Dante Grantham. Tigers come up with the loose ball. Possession arrow, though, to Florida State. Shot clock at 4.
You see Brad Barnell just rolling his eyes there. His team did the job defensively. Shelton Mitchell was the first to the floor. And you would love to see the defensive team, you've done the job, done the hard work, the heavy lifting, be rewarded with getting the basketball back, or at the very least throw it up and let's decide it in the air 50-50.
4 to shoot. Forrest down the lane. And he gets the roll, 56-54.
And Denise, that's the reason why. Clemson did an excellent job defensively. As I said, they were first to the floor for a 50-50 play. You let Florida State off the hook by giving them the basketball back. Forrest makes a great individual play.
Thomas on the inside, bumped by Obiagu. And Elijah Thomas to the free throw line. He's a 61% free throw shooter. 4 now on Ike Obiagu. Thomas came to Clemson from Texas A&M. From the Dallas area, the first Texan to sign with Clemson. A former top 50 prospect out of high school. And he gets 1 out of 2. It's a 3-point game, 6 minutes to go in regulation. Wild layup by Forrest, not there. Scarra the rebound. Outlet up ahead to Thomas.
What a catch. Not only did the big man rim run, ready to catch the basketball, but the ball was tipped. Still able to corral it and finish in emphatic fashion. That's a big play for the Clemson Tigers.
Kofor. Now Forrest. 10 to shoot. Obiagu sets the screen for Angola. Kofor open for three. Kofor with 16, but has not scored since the 19-minute mark of the second half. Great feed, and Thomas to the free throw line.
This is fast break one-on-one. If you're the first big, there's an imaginary line right down the center, rim to rim. You put your head down, you run. Shelton Mitchell, great job pitching the ball ahead, but great vision and concentration by Elijah Thomas with the catch and finish.
I think Dabo's taking notes. Elijah Thomas, walk on, question mark.
Little tight end action, over the shoulder, across the middle.
A goal line package.
Hey, just throw it up to him. Go get it. This is a crucial possession for Florida State.
Angola, the turnaround, gets it to drop. 11 for Brian Angola, the senior from the South American country of Colombia.
That's where you need your upperclassmen to step up and say, give me the basketball. Angola, the drive, nice spin. And that's a clutch finish for the senior.
The jumper by Reed, he's got 15. Shot clock and single digits. The lob for Kumaji. Clemson breaks it up. Forrest. Kofor with emphasis.
Phil Kofor. Throw it down. Gabe DeVoe tried to come over and contest. All he walked away with was being on Phil Kofor's poster. Big time jam.
Reed against Walker. Reed, the fadeaway, hits. $17 for Reed. And Reed breaks it up, knocks it out of bounds. Clemson by 6. Phil Kofor sending some reverbs through Little John.
The feed going up high. Little Statue of Liberty action. Throwing it down. The bench likes it. Florida State trying to rally here down the stretch. Again, senior night for Grayson Allen, who's come full circle. He was the hero in 2015, and now he gets an opportunity to play against the Blue Devils' arch rival on his senior day.
With Jason Capel and Ish Schropp, you played at Carolina, your brother played at Duke. What were the dinner table conversations like when those games took place?
Well, we're separated by 5 years, so it was quite simple. The family rooted for the Blue Devils for 4 years, took a break in the middle, and then rooted for the Tar Heels. So we got the best of both worlds as a family, and it was a beautiful thing. Florida State, you love to see the Seminoles execute out of the timeout, moving the basketball, and Phil Kofor needs to buy real estate in the right corner because he's done the job delivering throughout this entire game.
And that's been amen corner for Kofor. DeVoe straight away. Unable to answer, but the offensive rebound by Skara. Clemson has been so good tonight on the glass. Mitchell, another chance. Thomas hits the deck. It's going to be a foul on Florida State. And the referee is getting in the middle to separate the two sides.
And Elijah Thomas cannot involve himself in anything of that nature. Your team is winning. You're too valuable to the ball club. Nothing dirty happened. He hits the floor. Kamaji backs into him. And you don't need that right now. You're too valuable to this team. You got the call. The foul was called in your favor. And that's exactly what Coach Brad Burnell is saying to his young big man.
Good job by Jamie Luckey and the officials getting in there, keeping things from escalating. 10 team fouls now on Florida State. So Clemson in the double bonus. A win tonight would give Clemson 11 ACC wins, something they've never done in school history, win 11 games in conference. There's the foul right there. Koumadji got too much of Thomas.
Well, Koumadji trying to box out using his arms, which you can't do. So, yes, he did make contact above the shoulders. The officials are going to take a look at it. But what Thomas had issue with was Koumadji stepping over him. He was behind him. I don't even think Koumadji understood where he was on the floor. And again, you can't involve yourself in this. It is winning time.
And that's just an old-fashioned Old West stare down.
But you can't do that if you're Elijah Thomas. And you see Brad Burnell make his way down the sideline and pull his big man out of the fray. He's too important to this team, and mentally he has to understand that late in the contest.
Officials reviewing that last foul. I think it's going to stand as a common foul, nothing excessive to warrant a flagrant. And Elijah Thomas to the free throw line. It is a two-shot common foul. Thomas 10 points, 8 rebounds.
And this is what Thomas was upset about right there. And I understand that. You can't disrespect somebody by stepping over him. That was made famous when Allen Iverson stepped over Tyronn Lue, the 76ers against the LA Lakers in the finals. But I don't think that was Chris Koumadji's intentions. And it's winning time for Clemson, an opportunity, as you said, partner, to get 11 wins in ACC play. You have to keep your head in winning time.
Forrest so good down the stretch against Clemson 2 weeks ago. Now it's man. And a blocking foul. Elijah Thomas called for his 4th. Just the 8th team foul on Clemson.
Right there is where the foul occurs. If Thomas moves his feet, stands his ground, shows his hands, man was out of control. He has a great opportunity to pick up the charge. Anytime as a big, you reach into the action, you're just giving the officials an open opportunity to place the foul on you.
Man misses them both. And an over-the-back foul. And that is going to be on Elijah Thomas. They'll call the foul on Thomas. That is 5 on Thomas. If that's on Elijah. Oh, lane violation. Lane violation, excuse me. Angola. Kofor. The tip by Mann is not there. Skara rips it away.
Terrence Mann is struggling in this game. Missed 3 consecutive field goals, free throws, had an opportunity for a tip in there. Unable to convert.
Mann is just 1 out of 9. 1:41 to go in regulation. Clemson with a 4-point lead. Scara open. DeVoe is open in the corner. Mitchell hits the three.
Anish, you cannot have defensive breakdowns like that at this point in the game. Great job executing by Clemson, recognizing that Scara was wide open. You see the misdirection happen. Scar finds himself open, attacks the paint, head up. Defense is in rotation. And Shelton Mitchell, locked and loaded, knocking down a timely three-point shot.
A 1-and-1 for Trent Forrest, a 69% free throw shooter after a foul on the floor on Gabe DeVoe. Another big rebound by Scara.
4 consecutive missed free throws from Florida State.
And that's not the guy you want to foul if you're Florida State. Reed, one of the best free throw shooters in the ACC. Mann picks up his 4th. Both teams in the double bonus. Now, just as I sing his praises at the free throw line, Reed misses the first. PJ Savoy, a three-point specialist, checking in for Florida State with 1:09 left in regulation, and the Noles down 3 possessions.
Leonard Hamilton going to his offensive lineup. Terrence Mann, who has struggled, finds himself on the bench, putting an extra shooter on the floor. The Seminoles in danger territory. A minute to go, down 8 points. Needing to get the ball going to the basket here in a hurry.
Kofor. Kumaji tries to tip it in. He does. And a timeout with 53.2 seconds left. 69-63. Leonard Hamilton wants to talk strategy. Florida State 8-8 in conference play. Looking for their 20th win of the season. Currently projected as a 9 seed with 4 top 25 wins. You would think they're in good shape, but if you're the Seminoles, you're not at the point right now where if you collapse completely down the stretch, it may be a rude awakening on Selection Sunday.
Well, you want to control your own destiny if you can. And the matter is, in my opinion, you can't be 2 games below 500 in league play and expect to get a bid. Florida State has to play their best basketball here in this final 53 seconds with a game to go before the ACC tournament. They cannot look ahead. They have to take it right now, 1 possession at a time. You see the pressure ready to be applied. Look for 1 quick trap. Only a 2-possession game with a lot of time left to go in this contest.
Scara fouled by Angola, and David Scara, only a 62% free throw shooter to the line. That's the guy you want to foul. MJ Walker into the game, a 39% three-point shooter. And for a Florida State team that has struggled of late from 3, they need their snipers on the floor. Tonight they've been much better, 9 of 22 from deep. Clemson with a timeout. 50 seconds to go in regulation, 70-63. Take us inside both huddles right now. What are the coaches telling each team?
Well, Brad Barnell is telling the Clemson Tigers, defend without fouling. Show your hands. Florida State is going to a smaller lineup so the Tigers can switch everything to take away not allowing a behind-the-screen three-point shot to be taken. If you're Florida State, everybody on the floor right now is an outside shooter. Bill Colfer's the 5-man surrounded by 4 guards. You want to attack early, try to get it to the rim. If the defense is in rotation, make the correct basketball play, but you do not need a three-point shot right now. You want to extend this game as long as you possibly can, get the highest percentage shot you can right now in this offensive possession.
Kofor tonight has 5 threes. He's got 21 points, a game high. Angola has rediscovered his three-point stroke. He's 3 of 4 from downtown. Forrest brings it up. Nearly turned it over. Angola off balance. Rebound DeVoe. And finally fouled by Angola. 3 on Angola. DeVoe to the free throw line as Clemson moves closer to that 11th ACC win.
Right now for Clemson, it's about making free throws, defending without fouling, and then being strong with the basketball, expecting to be fouled, meet your passes. Don't worry about the score right now. You're ahead. That clock needs to continue to run. You do not want to help Florida State out by fouling them, stopping the clock, and allowing them to put points on the board.
DeVoe gets them both. They call him Bobby Buckets for a reason. Forrest turns it over. Angola fouls Reed. And Clemson can sense it on the verge of winning their 11th ACC game. That would be a first in school history.
You have to go back to giving a lot of credit to Coach Brad Barnell. He's a coach that preaches defense. The Tigers have been better defensively this season, but also have more offensive players. Marquise Reed, a luxury to have a guard at the end of games that can step up and make plays. And the Tigers are doing this, as we said, without their best player. Dante Grantham went out with the ACL tear. The Tigers continue to find a way.
Savoy launches. Reed the rebound. And Clemson will get a couple of more free throws before all is said and done. Now for Florida State now, you look at that game this weekend at home against Boston College. Is that a must-win for FSU?
I don't think you want to leave anything to chance if you're Florida State right now. As I said, with the loss here, you drop to 8-9 in league play. To lose at home in the final regular season game against a Boston College team which has played well down the stretch. You have to take care of your home court. You don't want to leave anything to chance.
And here's the thing. If Notre Dame and Florida State finish with the same record, now Notre Dame has Virginia, so that may not happen. But if Notre Dame is able to beat Virginia and both finish at 9-9, Notre Dame gets the tiebreak, and Florida State will have to play on Tuesday, day 1 of the ACC tournament. Meanwhile, Clemson, without Dante Grantham, these last 10 games have found ways. Brad Brownell has done one of the best coaching jobs in the ACC, and the Tigers, for the first time in school history, have won 11 games in an ACC season. Final score from Littlejohn, Clemson 76, Florida State 63.